It's Sunday evening and I'm making a yard assessment, just kind of poking around, looking at the colonies, just seeing where things are at and trying to, put the workload together for this upcoming week. This yard is still in the supplement feeders and we're pretty much used up. There's no pollen coming into this yard, so they're pretty hungry yet. I'm anticipating the, see, this is further down across in the flats. The yard where we were at before, where the pollen started, is up on the escarpment, kind of a heat sink. So that always comes in before everything else does out in the flats here. So I kind of expected this yard to not have any incoming pollen yet, but it should be soon because we have wetlands all around in here, pastures and such. They should be feeding off that any time now. And I'm poking around in the nests, and these girls, I think I was checking my video just to see exactly when we put these patties down. It was 5 days ago, and they are gone. Like, the big ones are gone, the smaller ones practically are gone. These pails have been consumed, so we should get more syrup on them. There isn't a trace of patty left on these colonies, which means we got to get into them and we got to get more feed onto them. Today was kind of a windy-ish type of shitty day. It was 17 degrees, so it was nice. The bees are able to get out and fly, get to the feeders, but kind of stuck inside. And the same with yesterday, the bees were kind of stuck inside. So I kind of figured it was yesterday and today these girls are really turned to the feeders. They're just devouring the pails here and devouring the patties. Just love that stuff. So that's 5 days. 5 days per pound. Once that natural stuff starts coming in, I don't know. I got to keep it on the colonies anyways, because now's the time where they're developing out their nests, and when the natural stuff comes in, these queens are really going to start ramping up, and that's when you get interruptions. They're going to be pretty much feeding hand to mouth with the inflow of food. They're going to ramp up their brood production and just take off. But if there's any type of interruption with weather or such, there's a fear of them going into protein stress. So that's when they really are heavy into brood rearing. That's basically when you want to make sure you have the supplement available for them, just to make sure. These guys are a little quieter. Let's see what's in there. So they've eaten half their patty. So these are there's 3 frames of bees here. You can see where their brood nest is right here. So even the small guys are devouring this patty. Let's take another look at a small one. Not small ones, medium-sized ones, I guess. The small ones are marked with flags. So this is a medium-sized colony, so not a big one, but they're on their syrup pail. And they are just about done their patty. Scraps there. I was a little bit concerned about these medium-sized hives on just, these guys will be showing 4 or 5 frames of bees. But if they're eating a pound of patty in 5 days, let's find another medium size. Here's another medium-sized one. On the feeder pail. Their patty is gone. So these guys are marked as a medium, but I'm showing 6 to 8 frames up top. Let's just take a look underneath to see what they count as. Ah, come on. Stuck together. So I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames of bees. Six frames of bees, whoops. 6 frames of bees, and enough going on in there to devour a pound of patty. Let's take a look in the brood nest, see what they're doing. I'm not sure how much battery I have left in that phone, but we'll just go quickly down into the nest just to take a peek. I don't want to get too in depth, but I just want to see kind of what's going on down here. I don't have my smoker with me, but we'll just take a peek down here. We'll just battle through it. Just a little scrap of supplement here. These guys just love this patty. So I'm just anticipating I'm getting myself into the brood nest here, and I am. Got some capped brood going on. This side's packed full of eggs. This whole side of frame is packed full of eggs. Got some pollen. Looks real nice. This queen is feeling good. Here's a good frame of brood. Capped brood with young brood in between. Has even got eggs right down to pretty much the corners. All stages of brood on here. Ooh, that looks good. It's kind of tough this time of year with the looking at the nest and assessing for performance, because they've been feasting on supplement and internal stores, so it's not like they have this lush amount of protein and resource coming into the nest. So they're using what they have and what I can provide to build this nest, which they show, and this is a solid frame of brood. I'm looking at drones walking on the frames here. We have some capped drones around here. This nest is feeling optimistic. Pollen around the edges, larval of all stages, kind of all nicely grouped together. Same on this side. We're looking at capped brood, which is pretty solid, and then larval of all stages, kind of more mature than younger as it goes out, just as they expand that nest. This, oh boy, this nest looks really good. And this is a colony that's been marked as a medium-sized hive. So it is looking pretty ambitious. Lots of drones going on. So we got this side of the capped brood, and as it goes out, it's mature larval stage, and then younger larvae, and then into the eggs. Rimmed by syrup, so this is set up perfectly. We got some pollen on that side. How many frames of brood? I kind of lost track here. We're going on 3 anyways. Not solid frames of brood, but 3 to 4 frames of brood on it. And we've got a frame of food here, so we'll get into the food resource. So these guys are just a little bit cranky. Colony like this, well, I'm going to put another patty on it, and we'll come back in a few weeks to further assess it. To either might have to take them down a little bit. We won't have to boost these guys. These guys are right on the money. We won't be adding a second box on this one to grow into, though. 5 to 6 frames of bees. I'm looking at, if I were to count my brood frames, it would be like 2 frames of brood going on. So this colony is pretty much perfect to stage itself right up the flow. So this colony is going to cost me hardly any work. I anticipate the way this colony looks, I anticipate the colonies with the blue tags are going to be, you know, the 8 to 10 frames of bees, anticipate there's going to be like 3 or 4 frames of brood in there. Those colonies, I'm going to have to start thinking about adding space to them right away. In fact, we'll go dig into one. We'll see how much battery we have left in this phone. So this one is marked, both these are tagged as blue. So these are 2 strong hives. We're going to dig into this one. And there's just a scrap of patty. Wish I had my smoker going, but we'll just push through this. Just devouring the patty. So that's compliments to the chef. Easy girls. So the hives are just a little bit testy. We had just a few showers just roll through. So it's not a really good bee day. Called Carrie in today just to get the last of the treatments done and just get everything set for tomorrow. We're going to start transferring some nukes, which you'll probably see in a video tomorrow. Easy girls. As we dig in here, here's a frame full of larvae. Holy moly. And this side, the same. That's solid. Easy girls. Here is a frame of open brood. So that's 2 frames open brood. We got pollen going on here. Nicely rimmed with syrup. This nest is pretty ambitious. A beautiful frame of brood. Ringed with mature larvae and eggs, which is rimmed with syrup. Same on this side, a little bit of pollen. Just a beautiful frame. I mean, you can't get any nicer than that. So what you're looking for as you're reading the brood nest is you're looking for uniformity. You're looking for the queen laying a nice tight little pattern. Nice frame of brood. Beautiful frame of brood. So I'm counting 2 frames of brood. Pollen on hand, which is very nice to see, and rimmed with syrup. Another brood frame. This one's a little more scattered out. There's some pollen in between it. And I'm looking at drones. Here's another brood and lots of pollen in here. So I'm looking at drone brood, so that's positive. So we're not too far away to starting our graft. This nest is looking really good. Another frame of brood. Not solid, but it's got mature larvae in between. Beautiful side here. Got drone brood going on already. Cap brood. Larval stage in all larvae in all stages. It looks very optimistic. So these guys will be getting a second box in about a week, I'm imagining. And then we're starting to move out of the brood nest into more syrup and pollen resource here. Well, that nest put me in a good mood. These guys are going to need more supplement. And and they're going to need more syrup, and they're going to need more space. So that put me in a good mood, and that kind of defined the work week ahead. We're going to go through, and I'm considering the forecast, of course, but we have to get busy, and we got to get busy doing stuff. So we're going to be transferring some of these nukes into larger equipment, into the single box equipment, and after that we'll have all these little 5-frame nukes available, and we're going to start our second, I guess it'd be our third round, with more of a thorough, in-depth brood assessment. We'll go through, and we're not going to go through the hives like we did those 2 colonies there, but we're just going to go, we're going to spot check, we're going to look for vigor, and we're going to look for potential, and we're going to make our second assessment. So the second assessment will tell us whether or not that queen is, has advanced or at least maintained the colony size, and we're going to promote that. And anything that's kind of fallen back a little bit, anything that maybe assesses poorly, it looks like maybe it's failing or something like that, we're going to pull those colonies back and drop them in these little nukes, take them out of the yard, and then with all these empty spaces, we're going to start transferring those 6s into single deeps and then filling these empty spaces with those nukes. So just a continual refresh. We're going through, making a tough call. We're pulling out anything that doesn't make the grade. That kicked back into another yard where we are going to later requeen with the queen cell. And then those empty spaces, we're dropping nukes, just refreshing the yard. It's going to be a lot of work. Anything that shows a little bit of potential that's small, we will probably take and put on top of a big strong colony, just to pull the split from the colony below, to boost that little one up on top, just to help boost it up, to give it a little bit of a leg up to move forward. We should have a pretty good grasp on the condition of my apiary by the end of next week. I'll know exactly what we got going on here. But I think just with my spot checks here, I'm looking at optimism, I'm looking at potential, I'm looking at colonies that I was a little bit concerned about, that are consuming like a pound of patty in about 5 days, drinking down their syrup, developing out brood. I'm seeing all signs of advancement forward, and that is making me extremely happy. Like, we look at all the garbage they're throwing out the front, all the wax paper from the patties that we put in, tossing the wax paper out the front. It's all positive signs. So with the weather ahead, we work. If it's a bee working day, we are working bees.